Just thought I would make a video on why I put the winch on the back of my ATV instead of the front. It's a practical matter. You have one on the front. Sometimes you can't pull heavier loads. Pulls the back tires up off the ground if your winch is mounted too high on the front. You don't have any traction unless you have a four-wheel drive. I do not. Even still, I don't like loading the front axle up more than the back. It's not designed for as much load. Also, if you go into a mud hole, it's better to go into a mud hole slowly. And if you get stuck, you don't have to walk through so much mud to backtrack your way out with your winch to hook to a tree behind you. Now, like I say, I'd rather back out of a mud hole, some of them I've seen, because it could be an awful long way to get across going forward. So, a rear-mounted winch on an ATV, UTV, four-wheel drive, tractor, it don't matter. I prefer a rear mount, and the practicality of having one mounted higher is also there. If you need a little weight on the tires to be able to have traction enough to pull the load you're trying to move. This ATV I pulled them to 11 or 22 valves, I think is what they are, big truck tires, but a third or fourth, it just sits there spinning unless I could winch it up close enough and pull enough weight onto them back wheels. To pull them I wouldn't be able to, so sometimes your front wheels come off the ground a little bit. That's fine. If you need to make a curve, you just back up a little bit, get angled without the weight on your wheels, and once you get going in the direction you want, you just go straight line until you need to turn again, and you just back up, get your angle right. So it's no big thing. Primary though is having a winch that is more than just dressing or something to get you out of a mud hole. When you have a rear mounted winch, you can use it for all kinds of practical reasons. Like I say, it's also better to go backwards out of a mud hole, in my opinion, than it is to go through. If you want to go through the mud hole, back into the mud hole. You know, that's my philosophy on that, and make sure you got something on the other side you can hook to. But either that or have two winches. And I could put another winch on my ATV on the front, but why? I don't have a need for a front winch. I do have a need for a rear winch. Anyway, I'll show a little short demonstration and call this a good video. Thanks. said, the practicality of having a rear mounted winch and having a high mounted winch is multifold, so to speak. This little lightweight Honda 300 I have here, 4 tracks, can only pull so much weight. It's not heavy enough to pull some loads, unless by use of the high winch I can pull more weight onto the back tires as it tries to lift the load I'm pulling. Gives me a lot more traction. I can pull loads much heavier than the ATV, and I have done so many occasions. I've pulled loads twice as heavy as this ATV. Now, the front wheels were off the ground while I was doing it, but they'll only go so high. Depends on your angle of your cable. You just don't want to have it dump over backwards on you, but that's not likely if you have it mounted in the right spot. And like I say, I'll show that right quick. I have it mounted high enough, it will likely never be in the mud or water. I put this extra rack on there for hauling chainsaws and firewood and everything else. My little dog takes up that space here, she likes it. Little carpet. And I can throw my tools in there and throw firewood up there or whatever. But it's just practical. And like I say, that higher mounted winch on the back of the ATV is much more practical than putting it on the front, which most ATVs have them mounted down in here, which a lot of times gets underwater or in the mud. It's not a practical place to put an ATV winch. I'm going to say it again. The standard mounting place on the front is not practical. I break standards all the time. Let's just say I'm a nonconformist. I don't follow the crowd. Every project I do, you can see a little bit of the nonconformist in me coming out. So, like it or not, I'm a practical person. I put my winch on the back. I suggest everyone do what is practical for them. Just make sure it is practical what you're doing. Anyway, I like doing these little videos. Maybe it'll help someone decide it's all right to break convention and change things up a little bit. That's where good ideas come from. Someone trying something new. I like multitasking. If I had an ATV just to go play in the mud, it'd never get used. Too old, too tired to try to get out of mud holes all the time. So, my ATV is for work. Get me to the mailbox, help me move stuff around the yard. If a tree falls across my driveway, I'm dragging it out. And I'm definitely not going to try dragging one backwards. While I'm going backwards, it pulls your rear wheels off the ground. You can't get enough traction. You have to cut things too much smaller. It takes twice as long to move the log. So, if you got a log in the driveway, it's best to do it with a rear winch. Anyway, I'm a tractor guy. I love tractors. They are the most multitaskable piece of equipment that anyone can ever get their hands on. And I will be doing some more tractor videos shortly, so stay tuned. Anyway, you have a good day. Thanks for watching.